Okay, well, let's keep playing football. It's really a great reward for our guys who've been working so hard, and you've been hearing us talk about it to have this opportunity to keep going, and we're all excited about the fact that the way the day turned out yesterday, just so sunk into the being Lions fans, man. We love the Lions. Coach Carroll did a great job with his crew, and they played a fantastic football game to get the win, to give us the chance. So we're going to try to do something with it. Unfortunately, we're playing the Niners, and they're loaded and healthy and on a roll and about as hot as you could possibly get, and doing it in a really commanding fashion too. With the young quarterback who's doing so well, just kind of would buck the odds. That everybody would think you could do that, and everybody in the media anyway. So we'll see how we get our guys back for this weekend. It's coming up quick with the Saturday ball game, and we've already started our week and we're underway.
You talked last night about the culture of the team and really liking that. I'm assuming it's a little different year to year with every team. When did you start to get a feel for what this team was like and what you liked about it?
Well, last year we thought we had a bunch of guys that were emerging, and that could be stepping up. And as we made some, significant changes, we realized that leadership was going to be shifting some, and we had a good confident feeling about the guys and that we're looking forward. Diggs and Tyler and Al Woods, those guys that have taken over. Nick doing a similar job that he's done in the past. We just felt like we had guys that could give us good messaging, and all that, as well as whatever else showed up, and Brooksy and all the guys that have also contributed. So, but that was, we had a sense for it.
How do you kind of view the year that you've had in making the playoffs, playing as much rookies as you have, as much as you have, the overturn from two stalwarts in Russell and Bobby to turning it over in that regard, bringing a new quarterback in and Gino, just kind of getting to this point after everything you guys have done and what you've been through with all the...
So what is the initial part of the question?
Just like, how do you kind of view the season in that regard, that you've been able to get to this point?
Yeah, I think it's been really frustrating. We were close enough to win 2 or 3 more games anyway, and it would have been a whole lot different last night, if we'd have done that, and one game would have made a difference, So as much as the outlook from the outside was different than what ours is, we expect to do more. It's good to have a winning record, but let's go ahead and have a winning record. That's not my goal. That's not what I'm reaching out for. And so we're fortunate that we got it done under the circumstances and all that, and we'll take it. But we had higher expectations. That's why I couldn't go along with all of the talk about rebuilding and all that stuff. It just doesn't jive with me. I don't know why you would ever make that concession to ever. I don't get it. Just go for it. And so we did, and fortunately we were able to hang in there and did enough good things, and we had a chance to keep moving.
You needed to reinforce to some of the newer guys to the program that we're not rebuilding thing in part because you lost guys like Russell?
Really, Michael, I didn't really do that. I just talked the way I talk, and and just do our thing here. I didn't feel like the newer guys they just needed to catch up with us. To find your way to creating a culture, you have to. You're constantly on it, and you're forever teaching and directing and pointing out and learning and growing and expanding and all that stuff. Always. I mean, it doesn't stop. It's not like you give them a message and okay, here it goes. And you have to tweak along the way to meet up to the style and the makeup of the players and the coaches and all of that. So it's just an ongoing process, and there's no okay, let's give them this speech and then we got our act together, or give them the list of the guidelines and the rules and stuff. It's way more than that. It's way deeper than that to get what it feels like to be here. That's what we're trying to get. What does it feel like to be here, and can you make sense of that?
Did you like that challenge personally, though, of kind of having to, once Russell and Bobby leave, it is...
Yeah, you picked up on that. I didn't do it for that reason. I didn't want, I didn't think I needed a kick in the butt to get fired up. But it was just a natural challenge, because there's a lot more unknown. That's what the experienced guys give you, more known stuff. And as you transition, you got to figure it out. And it's enthralling for me, to try to find the ways to make sense, to put together what you got to put together, and to to match it up right, and try to minimize the false steps and the miscues and that get in the way. And it's more likely when you're younger that stuff's going to happen. Bud Grant tried to teach me a long time ago. It teaches all a long time ago, but it's hard to do it with rookies, and so I've been fighting. It's one of the things I love trying to prove to him. You can do. All the way back to SC, we were doing that, trying to play young guys and make them fit in. So there's a big upside to that, and we saw even last night, we saw some of our younger guys make some plays, that hadn't had the chances and come through for us. They've been with us and all that. Kay Johnson had a couple good catches, and Derek had a couple big plays in the game. Special teams player of the week because of it, and some really cool things that continue to show. So I might be fighting this fight all by myself, but I'm going to keep doing it.
Do you care about proving people wrong?
Say it again.
Do you care about proving people wrong?
Sure, of course. Heck yeah. Yeah, I love doing that. I have no problem with that. I don't mind telling you that.
You mentioned this morning that trust was an integral part of the turnaround. Is it harder to instill the trust in the younger guys? And at what point this season did you kind of see it turn around, or is it an ongoing thing in terms of building trust in the culture of your squad?
Yeah, it is. It's dynamic. It's not a static thing. It flows and fluctuates and stuff. And how do you handle the disappointments? How do you handle the setbacks and the real blunders and things that come along the way? And do you overcome those? And don't see them as burdens and all that, but you see them as just hurdles that you got to get over, and away you go. It's all that kind of thinking. So. The trust thing is, I feel like I have to prove it to them. I'm constantly proving to our guys why they can believe in this and that, and why they can believe in themselves, and why they can believe in the guy next to them. And I've been really on that bent for a long time, trying to prove that that they're capable of whatever we can imagine them to become. And it's part of it to me. It's constant.
One of the things the guys talked about after the game was how gratifying it was to finish that game. What's the biggest benefit for those guys having that feeling?
Yeah, and that's what I was really dwelling on today with the guys, is that is what we did. We didn't just finish the season; we finished the game, and in like fashion, it's about doing really well under all of the stress of the circumstances and the challenges and the hype and the build-up and all of that. And that's one of my favorite things about sports. Is that you have a chance to show who you are when times are tough and hardest. It's probably why I take so much and enjoy the games that are tight and you have to do stuff at the end, and you guys all get mad at me, or the fans do, because they want it over with and they don't want the stress of it. But it's learning to deal with that and being normal with that is where I think you best have the chance to function in that. So we need it. Playing the Niners, playing a team like this is so freaking loaded in every direction, and they got everything. I'm sure that they got huge vision of where they're going and all of that. You got to beat teams like that. You have to. You got to find a way. If you want to win, you got to beat teams like that. You got to beat championship teams, and so that's the challenge.
Shelby Harris was saying last night he's never been on a team with a winning record.
I was surprised to hear that.
Is that fun when you get to this point in time of year and you have a veteran guy who's never been through it?
Yeah, sure. Guy's never been to the playoffs and stuff like that. Yeah. I didn't ask the fellas today. I will get to that. But yes, it is. It's cool. It's a cool thing for these guys, and they've been waiting their whole life to have a chance to do this, and it's a big deal to them.
Getting to the playoffs, how much more special does that make Gino's story coming back, waiting all those years to be a starter, then leads a team?
I think it's just another chapter in his story, and it's an incredible story, in our little world of football here. But it's a big accomplishment, and to set records and stuff like that as well, it's amazing.
How did Kate sort of emerge as the third receiver yesterday?
He's been playing this role for a long time for us and been really backing up Tyler. He's the most like Tyler, and he's been around here for a couple of years and all. He's just been growing in really the trust that we talk about. The trust of the coaches is they really know that he knows what he's doing, and so we believe in him. So he's been available. We just haven't needed him, and for him to make a couple big catches, that's a really big deal, and he did beautifully yesterday. So, but it's just been an ongoing process of him proving himself on a regular basis. He's a great practice player. He's got all kinds of versatility and stuff, and he's a real favorite around here. So it was great that happened.
When you look back on it, how did you feel Gino played yesterday?
It was a harder game for him. It wasn't. I didn't. When we were talking last night, I wasn't aware of what the numbers and stuff. He had a harder time. It was difficult. And they made some plays. I mean, the first play of the game, guy makes a phenomenal, all-pro play and steals the ball from us. And on a timing rhythm thing that he's been throwing forever, it was a great play by Jalen. So it started hard, but he got hit. He got hit on the other pick. He got drilled on the one that he threw downfield to DK. And so, it's not that Gino didn't play well. And I don't think that. I think his play was harder yesterday. I think they did a nice job on him. And but when he had to come through, he found a way to do it, which is really the most marvelous of all. When it doesn't matter how you do it, it's that you get the job done. And Gino was able to figure out how to use his legs and get us in field position and make things happen, and throw the key balls at the right time when we had to do it. The amazing touchdown pass, and just coming through, So that's why I felt like he did a good job of leading us and a good job of winning the game with us and all of that. But yet when I looked at it, it was a little bit rougher than some other ones, And protection had a little bit to do with it. Although protection was pretty solid, they covered us a little bit, and he had to wait a little bit and stuff like that. So it just made it harder.
You said last night that this is a championship team. Is that a realistic goal for this year and something you believe they can accomplish, or is it
I don't know. It's kind of, as a coach, you can kind of throw that stuff around any way you want, I know. I feel like this is the kind of nucleus that you have to build around it and to add to it. Trust is a big word for us today in this little conversation here. I trust these guys that they're going to give them everything you got every time they go, and they're going to find a way. And if they don't, they're going to be pissed at themselves, or, that they didn't get that done. They're really in it for the right reasons and all, and that's all I could ask for, And we've got speed, and we've got talent, and we've got quarterback, and we've got receivers. We got some stuff, So there's a lot to build on here, and the future looks bright because of all of that.
What role has Quandre played in the ability for the back end to function despite the rotating cast of
He's
safeties?
had a huge role. He's had a huge role because he's the guy they listen to. And of all of the players on that defensive side, when Quandre says something, everybody's listening, And he's a really, really bright, savvy football player. He gets it. He can look at the game like he's a coach, and he can analyze and anticipate and help other guys out with indicators that may appear and stuff like that. And so that's no fluke. It's not because it's just the personality. It's because he has the information. He's the source. So he is a huge deal to us, and without him we would be different. And he affects a lot of guys in a really positive way. One of those guys that makes other guys play better.
Did that pick yesterday look a little bit like Earl back in the day? Covered
well, yeah, they're a couple UT guys, coming through on the deep end. Yeah, that's a similar play that Earl could have made.
Specifically, you talk about Quandre making guys better. With Tease and Jonathan, two guys who came in during the year, what impact do you think he's had on them?
That'd be a really good question to ask them. What do I think? I think he's had a very positive influence on them. They're counting on him. He is the bell ringer. They're waiting for him to make the calls and make the statements and the adjustments and the alerts and all of that. So he's been, I'm sure, a great asset to them.
How good was that play though with Quandre? I mean, he talked later and said he thought that was a really perfect play call by the Rams, and he thought initially it was going to work for a big play for them.
Well, yeah, it's he was. Baker is able to hold the football for a guy to run a 20-something yard deep corner route, and it's not a route the first time anybody's ever run the route. It just takes a lot of time to get it done, and there was enough time for it to spread where the play became the free safety's play to make, and Tariq was occupied with the comeback on the sidelines over there, and so he had to feel it, and he got enough flight time on the ball that he made a great play on it, but. There's some space in there. The ball could have got in there some.
Almost 400 rushing yards the last 2 weeks. With getting that going, heading into the postseason, how good is that for you?
Couldn't come at a better time. With the Cyclone threatening down there. We may need to run the ball 40 times, 50 times, whatever. We'll see how that goes. It's huge for us to make that statement. And remember last year at the end of the season, we found our rhythm and really got going too. I don't know why that I have no idea why that's happening like that. But I think we had like 130 something against KC, something like that. So we've been coming, and you can really see Kenneth, getting together with the guys up front. The rhythm looks way better than it did, and that's just time and takes some, take some lumps along the way, and so fortunate we're getting going.
In Kansas City, when you wanted a change in approach with you all with Walker, was it a mindset thing for him that he had to change and just be more downhill?
Yeah, because we've been talking the same way, but sometimes it takes a moment for you finally to go, oh, that's what you were saying, or that's what you wanted, or. And I mean, I'll take it on myself that from Chad and I trying to get the word across, we didn't communicate well enough to him. We didn't get it to him soon enough to get him, to make the adjustments that really look pretty obvious, so far.
How clearly did you? I mean, was it simply a run there? I mean, how clear was it that you directed him?
It seems so simple that I remember looking him right between the eyes and said, okay, here we go. In this half, I want to see, let's get downhill, let's attack line of scrimmage, and let's just see if that doesn't give us a little bit of a change that we need. And I know Chad had already said the same thing, I just reiterated. Excuse me.
Talk about that rhythm with the guys up front. Do you mean that it's this point in the season that he's found the rhythm, that Ken has found the rhythm with the offensive line, or that it's the number of carries in the game that leads to that?
No, I think it's taken him quite a while during the season for him to really connect, and he's had kind of an in and out and a slow start because banged up and things like that to get going. It just took us a while, and it took us a while to see him enough so that we knew where we needed to direct him, and all of that. So I think it's all of that. I would say also, though, just to reinforce the other thought you have, that in the games, there's never been a running back that didn't want the ball more. And that the more I get it, the more I feel it. And that's the truth. That's just the facts. And it's always proven out, So that certainly is true, too.
Is the version of Carroll you're getting right now what you thought you would get, coming into camp this year?
From whom? Yeah, I'm really fired up about Darryl, and that he's really made a big jump. And he's becoming a real force, and that's we need that. I was really fired up about Mafe in the same light. Both those guys they're settling in on their strengths. I think more so. They're more comfortable with how they can be successful, and so they're working their stuff to make that come to life.
How important is a pass rush to this defense? I mean, I know pass rush is critical to any defense, but specifically to your defense, when the guys up front are getting a push, what does it enable this defense to do on the back end?
Well, it typically in all defense, if the rush is making the ball come out quicker, then you don't have to cover them as long, and they don't get as open and all of that. I mean, it's so fundamental, but it's the facts, and so it can work in conjunction. If we cover them up, there's a great what was it, the second, third down situation I think in the game. And it was 3rd and 3. I can't remember if it was the second one, but we got a sack on the play. Totally because of the coverage. Coverage was perfect, and there was no place for the ball to go, and the quarterback got stuck, and there was nothing he could do, and boom, the rush collapses in on him. That's a classic example of how it works together, But yeah, every defense I've ever been around is a whole lot better when the rush is really good, and you're gonna be able to see what that looks like this weekend. These other guys, they're great at it.
Was that Bruce's sack?
Whoever had the first one. I don't remember. They were kind of collapsed in on them.
A couple guys who were inactive yesterday, Phil Haynes and Ryan Neal. What's the plan status?
Ryan's pretty fired up when I talked to him today. He's making progress, so it's going to be a race, to see what happens. But he was pretty positive, and he's a pretty upbeat, positive guy anyway. So got to take that in. But I was really happy for him because he felt like there was a hope that he could make it back. Phil will have a chance.
You said on the radio you were going to go for it on 4th down on that last drive. The regulation, I guess.
Did you buy it?
Go for it. Yeah. Well, I just was curious about the
I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was curious what the thought process would have been there. I mean, with just over 2 minutes left or whatever. I mean, just get to score the touchdown. And,
But I'm not going to go any deeper than that. It might come up this weekend, so.
Tariq, Shelby, and DJ all got nicked in the game. Are they all fine coming out?
Shelby and yeah. It seems like they're kind of bumped, bumps and bruises kind of thing. And so there's really a hope that they can make it through, but we got to wait and see. And Tariq had a couple things that he was banged on, and we'll see Shelby get hit in the thigh or something like that, and so did DJ. So we just got to wait and see. I can't tell you.
Is Quentin Jefferson okay?
Yeah, as far as I know, he's fine.
Going back to proving people wrong, you said you enjoy that. What do you think you proved thus
There's a
far?
lot of things I enjoy now, Michael. That's not like one of the only things, On the list of, say it again, I'm sorry.
What do you think you've proven thus far?
No, I wasn't referencing this year. I was just saying in general. I kind of like, I don't mind proving people wrong. Particularly people that fire me. And that's an ongoing process.
Why do you not like hats?
I don't know. Just can't keep, I don't know.
You never worn one during a game until yesterday.
No, I think I did.
Well, you weren't like one of these.
No, I think I did. Didn't I wear one back against, might have been against New England when they were here, when it rained.
2012?
I have no idea. I think I've done it before, though.
Can I add one more big picture? When Todd Ledwicki went down and fetched you in LA in 2010, is this, when you say the culture, the program, well, okay, lured you. When it was
processing.
when you told them the program you wanted to put in here and the culture and how you want it, how long did it take to get it exactly as it works now?
That's a good question. Because it changes all the time. It's been like I said, it's dynamic. There's stuff that happens along the way, but I think the year, and you guys helped me on the year that we were in Atlanta, in the playoffs, we were getting there, and I think we were, by then we had been together long enough with enough guys that knew what was expected, and we were starting to find our rhythm and the patterns of things and how they go and expectations and stuff like that. And we were really building at that time, And I would think, it's easy to say, oh, when you win the Super Bowl, but it was before that, and the expectations that really, remember how we came out of the Atlanta game, we were all really disappointed that we weren't still going, and so that means we were already getting there. We were, so somewhere, I don't know, I can't put a pin in it, but it was somewhere probably during that season.
The reason I ask is a lot of coaches don't even get 3 years to cut to that. And
Right.
Has the industry even changed since 2010 in that regard? That you don't even get the time you got here to get the
I don't know
program?
that. You guys do your research on that one to answer that. I don't know what, you have to go back and track how long people are getting the shots at their jobs and all. But there's a growing impatience, I mean, just look around, and been a lot of coaches that come and gone on our division over the years, and there's been a lot of stuff happening, and there hasn't been a lot of patience, and is patience the right, concept to allow a guy to be successful? Well, part of it, if you're doing this job for the first time, it's hard. There's a lot of stuff happening that you have no clue of how to prepare for. You can't get yourself ready. You just have to go through it and hope that as you go through it, you come out okay. Because there's just so many first time. And it really comes down to the decisions that you make that represent who you are and what you feel and where you stand on stuff. You can't figure that out until you get there. And so even like guys who have left here, that have been with us, and and I always try to give them my shot when they're going for their interviews and they're trying to get prepared and all of that. That at least you have answers to just answer things the way we do it. And if they ask you questions or they pose situations, at least you have a way to how we would do it. Because otherwise you're making it up on the fly. And it's hard. It's just there's just a lot of stuff going on in this. So it takes time. It takes time to get right at it. That's why when a guy like Sean goes down there in LA and does such a great job so early, I mean, it's phenomenal that he did what he did, and that's just unheard of almost. But it's happened in Minnesota too. You know, they're nailing it too. So, and the Packers, you know, the last couple of years, they did a great job too. And so it can be done, and it's not impossible. But what is harder than all of that is to sustain it. It's, you know, you may hit it because things work out right, and you get on a rhythm and things are rolling and things are fitting together and you're going and the momentum happens, but that's just part of it, you know. I was asked, I think, guys on the radio or something the other day, you know, is it tougher to get it done to get it done the first time or sustain it? And it's way harder to sustain it. To me, there's way more that goes on. The dynamics that start pounding at you after you've been successful, personally and structurally and intellectually in all those ways. It's tough. It's difficult to keep your act together and to stay true to who you are, and so that your philosophy continues to stand strong under the rigors and the challenges and the setbacks and the failures and all that. So
with that,
that's fun.
With that, with that sustaining part, do you take pride in the fact that you haven't missed the playoffs in back-to-back years here?
Yes, I heard that for the first time. Somebody said that to me today. I didn't know that.
Obviously, you'd rather go every year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really good. We get to lose one time, so we can come back and do it again. You know. No, somebody with Mike was saying on the radio this morning about 10 out of 13. Okay, there's some consistency to that. I've always said, I always wanted to say, if I did it right, would be if you asked me, hey, how you doing? Well, I'll let you know in a few years, so we can look back and see what happened. And because to say it in the middle of it doesn't mean much to me. You got to prove it and sustain and show that you can stay. I mean, that goes all the way back to, I was impressed with and I think I've said this to you guys before, my first game I ever was a head coach, and we were playing Buffalo from the Jets, and I probably told you that we were up there in Buffalo, and the game was over, and I went out on the field and I was gloating about the win, and my first game ever, and we're going to win forever, never lose a game. And I looked back and saw on the wall there, the Marv Levy years were up there, that they'd already done 4 or something in a row, and that's what winning is. That you keep coming back and you keep proving who you are, no matter how the changes and the challenges come your way, that you can keep finding a way to be successful. That's success to me. That's what you're looking for.
Were you convinced when the Seahawks hired you that you'd get the time to put the program?
No, I was not convinced. No, not at all. I told Tater, I said, we got about 3 years to try this thing out. Let's see if we can pull it off, And the both of us thought that probably would be about what we'd get, And so I had no idea, that it would go. But I was confident enough to go for it and to lay out the way that we wanted to do things, and I wanted to see if it would work out, And we're doing okay.
One last injury thing. Is anybody else in that wait and see category, like that got bumped or
yeah.
Really wait and see tomorrow.
Yeah, we could wait and see tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Ask me that again.
Thank you.
Okay.